By now, Starfield players have lived many roles. Dusty miners, UC Marines, PG-rated pirates, genocidal planet surveyors, mind-controlling corporate spies, grumpy space truckers, or starborn universe hoppers. But for now, let's forget the millions of spacefarers that we've birthed on our character creator screens and ask, what's life like in the Settle systems for its hideous NPCs? The ones that barely qualify for a name besides citizen. What is this universe like for its unsung heroes that fill its spaceports, just trying to get by in the background of Bethesda's grounded sci-fi adventure? Well, for any NPC, the first and most important question to ask is, where in this 1,000-planet map of stars would you like to call home? Are you a trust fund rich kid who loves wacky out there fashion and running from the Rev 8? Or are you a slumdog, minus the millionaire credits living in the UC's dirty little secret? A space cowboy who needs nothing but a Laredo Razorback and a sunset? An EDM-loving drug dealer? A full Tom Cruise cult worshipper? A cashed-up mining bogan? Or a glorified tourist trap? Sorry, Bill. Or do you reject all this and simply bunk up at one of the thousands of procedurally generated civilian outposts, mining outposts, or research outposts? The choice is yours. Whatever location fate chooses to spawn you into in this galaxy, your next question is probably education. But does Starfield even have schools? Well, if you equip the kid stuff trait and visit your family, upon your first visit, your father will mention how he retired from his university teaching job that very day. Plus, if you bounce around planets long enough, you'll encounter Miss Whitmore's 6th grade class, who are pretty thrilled to meet a ship captain for the first time.
Get us out of here. We're fine.
From this, it's safe to say we know the Settle Systems has a full education system from elementary through to college. What we don't know, however, is where in the effing stars these schools and universities are. While your dad's university can be assumed to be hidden amongst the skyline of New Atlantis, its elementary school surely must be hidden somewhere across each settlement. Wherever they are, these schools clearly have an impeccable attendance record because, apart from a few kids in Cydonia, the Well, and that absolute brat Bobby in New Atlantis, kids are incredibly scarce in this galaxy. Next up is your career path. Thankfully in this universe, AI has failed to replace even the most menial job. I told you this game was cozy. Here you can be anything. You can be a janitor that only sweeps one specific spot. An everyday beat cop who prefers to hire random people off the street to do their job for them. A creepy antique collector with the worst comb over you've ever seen. A shady weapons dealer who actually seems like a pretty nice guy. Thanks, friendo.
Excellent, friendo.
Or a hopeful Galbank job candidate with a strong resemblance to Audrey Plaza.
It's the big building with the word Galbank on it.
But if I were to choose, the most coveted job money-wise would surely be a Starship parts engineer. Given the number of spaceship manufacturers and the high price you pay for even the most basic hab in the shipbuilder, it's safe to say if you can stick with it, get through uni, and nail that interview, you too could join the team at Stroud Eklund and score that cushy desk job. And even one day ask a random spacesuited guy to get you a cocktail from Neon.
Would you care to go fetch me one of these velocities?
God damn, woman, get it yourself. Now that you have a day job, how are you going to kick back after a hard day's spacing? Well, despite my inability to find a single movie theatre across the UC or the Freestar Collective, the Settle systems do have an abundance of VHS tapes and a clearly thriving movie scene. The Silence of Sand, the horror of Outpost 11, Muzzle and Me, even the rom-com delights of Laser Love. Movie posters are everywhere, which also means that somewhere in this cluster of 1,000 planets is a Settle Systems Hollywood churning these bad boys out. For me though, the movie I'm most looking forward to is clearly the return of Interceptor, the long-awaited sequel of Interceptor 1. Pass the popcorn, Sarah. Jumping from Hollywood to music, the Galaxy's Borealis has built a full music career DJing the Astral Lounge on Neon. But this universal pop star seems to be just the tip of a bigger music industry, with heavy metal being blasted at the Last Nova aboard the Key and in Vulture's Roost. Perhaps this metal is in fact the band Harsney Lux and the Luxettes. featured in the posters at key settlements, or maybe Harsney is known more for their pop-punk stylings. Maybe they were the ones to inspire Sarah to jump behind a kit in her teenage punk phase.
A ridiculous name, I know.
And if Sarah has a secret rock past, does Sam have a short-lived singer-songwriter career from his early 20s that he also refuses to talk about? Because of course Aquila City would have a thriving country music scene.
At the time, I thought I was the bee's knees.
And even more than that, you know, Sidonia would have an epic underground rock scene with arms wide open. Well, to my eyes anyway, the galaxy only has one actual bookstore with Sinclair's books. It's clear from the evidence that reading is still the preferred way for passing time aboard your spacecraft. Hardcover ones anyway, as it seems slates have managed to kill off the Kindles and ebooks of our time. In 2330, it's interesting that most books you'll find are treasured keepsakes from our time. Frankenstein, War of the Worlds, Moby Dick, which carries with it its own bit of sadness knowing that Earth's ex-inhabitants still hold onto the past so dearly. While this galaxy has several findable board games such as Solar Frontiers and Starlocked, as well as the super mysterious chess-like game known only as the Symbol Game, which, honestly, Bethesda, what are you waiting for? Drop the minigame DLC already. It seems to lack in the interactive video game department, which is crazy. Are you telling me that the galaxy's #1 software company Starware, with their complete monopoly over every mainframe's operating system of choice, didn't find time to build a version of Tetris? Blasphemy. And what about a little family time? Well, there is a single clue that Christmas is still alive in 2330, thanks to our friends at Chunks, who are reported to release a seasonal variety of holiday chunks every year that always sell out due to high demand. And honestly, sign me up because holiday chunks sound delicious.
You are really into chunks, huh?
Speaking of chunks, every NPC deserves to treat themselves with the food and delicacies of the settled systems. Chunks' iconic cube morsels are a galaxy staple. They're satisfying, fast, and their restaurants are everywhere, even on Dazra. Want to start your day with a fresh brew? Hit up Terra Brew.
Corporate policy requires me to state that everything Terra Brew offers is my favorite.
So yeah, not worth asking for a recommendation. If you find yourself in New Atlantis and fancy a sit-down meal, there's always Dawn's Roost, offering gourmet fine dining with a beautiful view. But it does come with a price, however, which probably explains why it's completely empty most of the time. Or if you're on a budget, there's always Kay's Place in the Well with its loyal fan base, and you can even score yourself the recipe for Kay's mean shepherd's pie if you look hard enough. Despite the settled system's reliance on space travel, it seems access to ships is only achievable for the rich, because unless you're part of Vanguard, SysDef, or the Freestar Rangers, you'll hear many NPCs either asking what space is like, or sharing how they're jealous of your ship and the freedom it allows, which oddly mirrors how here on Earth, those like myself are absolutely struggling just to buy a house. Thanks Starfield for reminding me I'm broke. But just ask Donna Rain and she'll mention how she and her boyfriend are struggling to save up for their own ship to one day leave New Atlantis behind.
I think we're finally getting close.
Which, for a shiny, optimistic space game, kinda hurts that it's this realistic. Which brings us to perhaps the law's most unrealistic part. Earth's original dog and cat lovers' commitment to their furry friends is pretty well documented, and I refuse to believe that they would not have found a way to bring their four-legged friends with them during Earth's evacuation. Whether it was a dog-friendly spacesuit or oxygen-supplied cages, pet lovers would have found a way to save their pets. John Wick is a documentary after all. Despite being featured in the concept art, it seems the only option for a pet is to adopt the settled system's far less cuter wildlife, as proven by Paisley Hopkins, who's a random merchant you can encounter alongside her alien pet companion Grumble. Oh, look at little Grumble. This lack of pets may actually explain why you can find so many other furry friends aboard ships and around outposts. There's my friend Wilby, the adorable Cuddlesaw, even a little Xeno Snuggle. And I'm not gonna lie, I would love my own Galacticat. And you'll find the plushy guys everywhere, which is interesting given what I said earlier. Starfield has hardly any kids, yet you'll find these cuddly toys on Crimson Fleet ships and throughout eclectic garrisons. So perhaps for the settled systems, the loss of their living and breathing pets is actually the reason the popularity of these plushies skyrocketed amongst grown adults. They're literally filling the gap of cats and dogs by clinging to these furry toys for emotional support. Apart from a few relic soccer balls and baseballs used by the settlement kids in the Well and Aquila City, live competitive sport seems to have been retired. But look closer and you'll find these posters for Razor Derby. And with a rivalry as fierce as the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective thanks to their now resolved colony war, you know that when the mighty Aquila City Ashters play the New Atlantis Dolphins every year for that coveted Star Cup, the galaxy comes to a complete halt. Which brings me to perhaps the Settle System's one shared love, and it's something that pairs well with live sport actually. It's also one thing that this galaxy has an abundance of, and no, I'm not talking about useless metals, I'm talking about booze. Whether you're after a Jake Stout, Boggs Grog or just a wine chunks, each and every location across this universe has at least one bar, and in most cases multiple. The Broken Spear, the Hitching Post, the Pit Stop. Hell, even the long-neglected Den space station has a bar, which also features a cranky old man who gives off very aggressive MAGA vibes pouring the drinks. Clearly he's not afraid of being cancelled by the United Colony's woke mob. At first I couldn't make sense of this, until I discovered something within the Well. Behind the House of Enlightenment, follow the hall and you'll discover that they clearly host support sessions for veterans of the war. The fighting may have ended, but many hearts are still waging war. And in the bottom corner, lay off the booze. Yes, the galaxy's abundance of bars could just be attributed to Bethesda wanting to offer plenty of chances for you to hire crew for your ship. But in a lore sense, the popularity of a hard drink could be because this is a society still recovering from the events of the colony war, ending just 20 years earlier. What if the thousands of abandoned outposts across its barely inhabited planets is really hiding a decimated population suffering from PTSD, struggling to heal from its past? And hear me out, but maybe this reliance on recreational drugs like Aurora and alcohol could actually explain the lack of children across its settlements. The war led to PTSD, led to drinking, which led to a galaxy-wide impotence. Is Starfield actually a Children of Men movie in disguise? Well, most likely not, but it's fun to wonder. But I guess we'll never know. And this is the power of questions. Starfield's post-war world is more complicated and interesting than many give it a chance to be. Yet, the world I described, it's just a small sample of what's on offer for those willing to explore a little deeper. Yeah, there are gaps in this world, like where did Sebastian Banks, that founder of Constellation, where did he disappear to? Why did Hadrian tell you she's a clone, yet clones are never mentioned by anyone else? And why is the galaxy obsessed with all these novelty coffee mugs? Well, to me, I guess it's just because it's called world building, man. It's not world built. In the worlds of Cyberpunk and The Witcher, not every element has a reason for being, nor has every question got a reply. But these gaps leave room for you to fill the answers. Since the game's release, I've always said to anyone who will listen at least, what you give Starfield, Starfield will give back. And this means even more when it comes to its lore. Many took Starfield at face value on their first playthrough and deemed its world vanilla and boring, but just because something isn't obvious doesn't mean it's not there. If you're willing to search through its cluttered ships and locations, or talk through every prompt with every NPC you see, rather than just rushing through to kill the next pirate, you'll connect the dots and make discoveries you never knew were there. And yet, for those who have found the fun in the Settle systems, I think they know more than anyone that it's actually what they bring to the universe. It truly makes it come alive. So what is life like for a Starfield NPC? Well, just like the players, life is whatever the hell they want it to be. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're still around, throw in a like or a subscribe even. Yeah, these videos take a bit of work and juggling with a full-time job is kind of exhausting. But yeah, I appreciate it more than you ever know. See you in the next one, lefties.